What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back with another weekly rankings show here for you guys today to go over rankings for week 6. Let me turn the music down. So we'll jump into quarterbacks, and then we will jump into running backs, and we'll jump into receivers, tight ends, and last but not least, we will go over defenses. So not a very entertaining game last night between the Chiefs and the Broncos. As expected, Thursday night game. Short week for the players, for the teams, and not a whole lot of scoring. Not a whole lot of scoring whatsoever. Kelsey looked pretty good. Mahomes looks decent, but you can just tell, man, they need another receiver in that offense, or they need to give they need to give Rashee Rice some more playing time or something. They need to do something. It's a little frustrating, really, to watch them give snaps to Scantling and Tony and all these guys who just aren't very good, so let's start off with quarterbacks. I've already went through and put all these players into their place, so what you see on the screen is what you get. These are the rankings for the quarterbacks this week. I will talk about guys briefly. Allen, Tua, Mahomes, Hurts, those 4 guys. Really, you could probably throw Lamar in there too as the top 5 guys. You're locking those guys in no matter what. I do have Tua over Mahomes this week. I think Tua is going to be a top 3 quarterback this week. That's why he is on our cover of our thumbnail. Mahomes still played pretty well for most people. I would assume he played pretty well for you, depending on your scoring in your league. But Allen is set for a explosion week here against a really bad Giants defense. The only thing I worry about Allen now is that Daniel Jones is not going to play. He's already been ruled out. So Daniel Jones is over here. He's over here, guys. He's ruled out. He's not going to play. I guess we're going to see Tyrod Taylor. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll be okay with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. But the only thing I worry about if I'm a Josh Allen guy, and look, you're playing Josh Allen no matter what, guys. I mean, this is just a worry of mine, and there's nothing that you can really do about it. But that's if they get ahead by so far come like the third quarter and they just start yanking starters. That would be the cause for concern as far as Buffalo Bill guys. If you have Diggs, Allen, even James Cook, the worry would be they get ahead by so much, and the spread, I believe, is already up to 14.5. So we're looking at probably a double-digit beatdown, and so the worry would be that they pull starters and they miss out on like a quarter of play, and I wouldn't be shocked if that was what happened. So hopefully Taylor can play pretty well and keep it semi-close. When I say semi-close, I mean like under 20 points. That way Josh Allen and the Bills offense will be out there more often for you guys who own him. So Jalen Hurts, you're locking him in. A little bit tougher defense this week, although the Jets defense hasn't been as advertised throughout the first 5 weeks, and I attribute that to Rodgers not playing. The Jets defense has been on the field quite a bit, just like last year. We're seeing everything that we seen last year start to unfold. Jets being on defense a little more often than what they probably should be because Zach Wilson in the offense just isn't as good. Last week they got a little bit of a break, and Breece Hall doing his thing, because of how bad the Broncos defense is. But this is going to be a different game. So, Hurts can be okay. Like, he's not going to be terrible, I don't think. So plug him in. Obviously, you're starting him, you're playing him if you own him. Lamar, same thing. And really, Bateman had that drop touchdown catch. We had a couple of drops in the game for the for the Ravens. I'm a Lamar Jackson owner, so trust me, I seen those drops and I was yelling at the TV, wishing these guys would just catch the ball. Lamar should have had more fantasy points last week than what he had. I expect he'll be okay. He'll be okay this week going up against Tennessee. Tennessee can get beat with the deep ball, over the top. Their secondary is not great. I heard that Jeffrey Simmons also was not a participant in practice this week as well. So factor that in. Lamar's going to be a guy who's okay. Andrew's asking me, start to Olave, Amari Cooper, James Cook, PPR. Give me Olave and Cook, man, without Deshaun Watson. Give me Olave and Cook. Stafford here coming in at 6, Fields 7, Herbert 8, T-Law 9, and Burrow 10. All of these guys from 6 to 10 have really good matchups. I would be starting them if I were owners of these guys. I do have Fields in one of my leagues, so I am an owner of him. Pretty good like these guys all have good matchups against pretty bad defenses. Trevor Lawrence has probably the tougher defense, I would say, maybe next to Burrow against Seattle. T-Law's got the Colts. I do think the Colts are going to keep that game close. I actually bet the Colts on the spread or whatever this week. But Stafford has a juicy matchup. Fields has a pretty juicy matchup. If they can keep him on his feet, if the offensive line can play decent. Fields, I expect to have another big week this week. Maybe not quite like last week, but a solid week nonetheless. Herbert, they have a 50-point, I believe it's 50.5 point total here, Monday night against Dallas. Coming off of the bye, Eckler should be back. Expect Herbert to be pretty solid, even though they're playing against a decent Dallas defense. Dallas's defense, though, obviously had a rough game last week against the Niners. Maybe expect a little bit of a bounce back, but either way, Herbert's still going to sling the ball a ton. You get a high-scoring affair, according to the total on the sports book. So Herbert locked in inside the top 10. Burrow just rounding out the top 10 here against Seattle's defense. Looked like they got a little bit something going last week. Maybe that continues this week. Not super high on him, but I do think you have to start him if you own him, depending on your QB room. Cousins and Dak coming in here at 11 and 12. Dak is on the other end of that Herbert game. Cousins is on the other end of the Bears with Justin Fields. High totals in these games. Expect Cousins and Dak to play pretty well. I expect Dak to bounce back for one. Cousins missing JJ kind of hurts, but they are still going to throw the ball a ton. You can maybe argue Dak over Cousins this week. But Cousins, like I said, he plays on a team that throws the ball more than just about anybody. I know he's missing JJ, but just expect more volume for Hawkinson and Addison this week, and Osborne himself as well. So, but Dak, I expect to bounce back. Geno coming in here at 13, Goff 14, Sam Howell 15, Minshew 16. The only reason why Minshew is this high, guys, is just because everybody below him, Purdy. You could argue maybe Dobbs could be up here, maybe in 16 or 17, maybe ahead of Purdy and Minshew. Purdy's got a difficult matchup against a good defense that's in a low-scoring affair. I think the over-unders are all the way down to 36 already. And then Stroud, Russ, who played yesterday, Mayfield, Garoppolo, Carr, Young, all these guys have kind of rough matchups. I would probably take my chances with Minshew over these guys right here this week. I know, like Stroud, I know he's good. I know he's been playing phenomenal to start the year, but he's got a very tough Saints defense here. And the total is not really that high. I think it's like 42 and a half. Give me Minshew. I think Minshew is a very good game managing quarterback. He's not going to light up the fantasy scoreboard, but there's a chance that he gets a couple of touchdowns, to Pittman or like Granson or even Josh Downs. I think he has a solid game. He's not going to like I said, he's not going to get you like 30 points at, in fantasy for the quarterback position this week, but he's a guy that could get you somewhere to 15 to 20 potentially. So, which is about right around where Purdy gets. Purdy's been getting everybody a solid 20 points or more, usually just about every week. I think this week, though, it's just going to be a low-scoring affair. The Niners defense is going to be dominant playing against DTR. DTR is going to be back at quarterback. I don't even have DTR on the list. I wouldn't have him inside the top 24 anyways. These guys are all out right here, obviously. I don't have Tyrod Taylor on here. I don't care. I don't care to put Tyrod Taylor in the top 24. No, like he's not going to be in there just because Jones is out. I would prefer one of these guys over Taylor, obviously. I know Russ didn't play good last night, but he was already in my rankings before last night's game. Yeah, Mac Jones, Ritter, Tannehill, Zach Wilson, all of these guys just outside the top 24. You could maybe start Ritter, maybe. I don't know if I trust him against that defense. I feel like, look, Washington's coming off the mini bye, Thursday night game last week. I expect them to kind of really get things going this week again, and a little bit of a bounce back spot for them. So either way, you're looking for one of these 12 guys right here. So I wouldn't think, unless it's like super flex guys. I mean, these guys are pretty much off the table. So let's go to running backs real quick. These are the rankings this week, week 6. CMC, Eckler, Pollard, ETN, Bijan, Mostert are rounding out your top 6 here. A little bit lower on Bijan this week, guys, just because of the matchup here against Washington. Pollard, Eckler, who's back, are in a high-scoring shootout affair. I like both of them over him. ETN as well. ETN coming off the week last week. Maybe he comes down a little bit, back down to earth. I don't think he's going to get people like 35 points like he did last week, but he still, I think, is going to have a solid 20-point outing this week, as against the Colts. So these are all guys you're locking in. Really, the next 6 guys you're also locking in as well. Kamara, Kyron, Monty, Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift. All of these guys are number 1 backs. They're getting the majority of the shares on their team. Monty, another decent week last week. Expect maybe a little bit better of a week this week if he can fall in the end zone a couple more times. Kyron's got a juicy matchup against Arizona. Kamara, I believe Kamara's going to keep getting, like he said, 24 and 25 touches the last 2 weeks. So expect another middle of the 20s, touches for him against the Houston defense. That's pretty solid. It's not terrible, but it's not great. We'll see what Carr decides to do this week. Obviously, last week's game, they blanked the Patriots, so a little bit of a scripty game for these guys. Like, some of these guys got game scripted out. Thankfully, Olave caught that 1 touchdown pass, but you didn't really see much of the offense. The offense really wasn't that great against the Patriots, to be honest. Really, just the defense played phenomenal, and Mac Jones just did not play very well at all. But Kamara, nonetheless, is probably the safest Saints player on the team when it comes to fantasy. So he's going to get the checkdowns. He's going to get the, a lot of the rushing stuff inside the, inside the 10 as well. At least that's what it seemed like last week. So Kamara's a pretty safe play. I have him ranked above some of these guys just because of the touches, just like the touches and the receptions. So Jacobs is kind of close in that department to Kamara. The only difference is that his team is just not as good, and his offensive line is terrible. So you're still firing up Jacobs. He fell in the end zone last week. I think this is going to be a little bit of a tougher matchup. This is why I have him ranked just inside the top 10, whereas like normally he's about 5, 6, or 7. Tough matchup against Bill Belichick. They're going to do everything they can to probably stop Jacobs, would be my guess. So you know, he's ranked down here for that reason, but he's still got you firing up. Walker coming off the bye, I expect him to have a pretty decent game. Walker still hasn't really exploded as far as yardage, okay? I expect maybe a couple of, like, you know, I expect at least one big run this week, hopefully. I'm hoping, as a Kenneth Walker owner. He's kind of a home run hitter, and we haven't really seen a home run hit by him yet. But you're going to fire him up this week. Running back 1. He's inside the top 12 rank, top 12 for running back 1. Swift rounding out the top 12. Not the greatest game for Swift coming up, but he's getting so many carries. He's actually been involved in the receiving a little bit more last week. So hopefully that continues for him going forward, especially if you're an owner of him. I expect Swift to potentially score again this week and, lead the team in carries. But Jalen Hurts did run for like 72 yards last week, so that's going to be something to monitor, keep an eye on. We don't want him taking too many rushing attempts and yardage away from him. But you're always going to have that, to deal with if you're an owner of DeAndre Swift or any one of these running backs who has a running quarterback at the helm. So, running back 2s, Derrick Henry, Mixon, Pacheco, Breece Hall, Cook, B-Rob. And then we got Rashad White at 19, Madison 20, Barkley 21, JT, and Zach Moss down here at 22, 23. And then rounding out the top 24 is Ramondre Stevenson this week. A lot of injuries. Connor, Achane, Sanders. Those guys are all ruled out already this week. Achane's Achane and Connor have already been placed on the IR. They're going to miss 4 weeks. So it's a little bit unfortunate for you Achane owners out there who got him off the waivers. I did tell you guys to start him last week. A lot of you guys asked me about starting Achane last week. We gave you guys the green light on that, so congratulations to you guys. He played phenomenal again last week. It's unfortunate that he's not going to be, in your guys' lineups for the next 4 weeks, but it's going to make your guys' decisions a little bit easier, obviously, to start. I believe somebody had Breece Hall on their team with Achane, and I don't know if they started both of them, but I did tell you guys to start Achane over Breece Hall. I believe a couple of you guys who had like questions. Of course, I wanted you guys to start them both, but you really couldn't have gone wrong last week with Achane or Breece Hall, as your last like flex play or whatever it was. So your running back 3s here are going to be Pierce, Ford, Gibson, DeMarcado, Algier, Chuba Hubbard. Now that Sanders has been ruled out, Javonte would have been a flex option for some of you guys last night. Probably not the best guy to put in at your flex. 10 carries, 52 yards, and a 2-point conversion, so not much to brag about there. Roschon looks like he's going to be getting most of the workload in the Chicago game. There's going to be no Herbert. Looks like he's doubtful with an ankle injury from last week. So Roschon could be a sneaky play this week, especially in a deeper league. If you have a couple flex spots, or if you have like 3 flex spots or something like that, Roschon could be a little bit of a sleeper, okay? Because I do think the only thing Roschon's really been missing, and really they don't have they don't really have a tough matchup here against Minnesota. Minnesota's defense is not good, and so Roschon, the only thing that he's really been missing is the opportunity to have like a full workload. We'll see how much Foreman gets worked in. If I had to guess, though, Roschon is going to be kind of the main back. Foreman might get a couple of touches here and there, but I don't think it's going to be any concern of mine if I was a Roschon owner. I would not be worried about Foreman at all. I do think Roschon, we'll see what he does here. We'll see how much opportunity he gets. This, I would expect him to have a decent game here. That's why I do think he is a sneaky play. But I could see maybe just a ton of Fields and a ton of DJ Moore as well in this game. But I do think, either way, they got to get this guy involved some way, somehow. can he take advantage of his opportunity? I think he can. So Roschon is a sneaky play in a deeper league. Maybe you put him at your flex if you don't have good options. It just depends on the, you know, the guys you have on your team. Like in my league, I couldn't start him because I have Breece Hall, I have Kyron Williams, I have Kenneth Walker, I have Jordan Addison, Olave, Devontae Smith. You know what I mean? It would be tough for me to find, for him to find his way into my lineup. So those guys, you know, if you have guys like that on your team, it's going to be tough to get him into the flex spot. But if you have multiple flex spots, maybe you do. JT and Moss, I got them down here together at 22, 23. It's just tough to know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be pretty split. Moss played really, really well last week, which is obviously not a good sign if you're a JT owner. It does help that Minshew's the quarterback this week. You don't have to worry about Richardson taking some of those runs, taking some of those read options or whatever it is, scrambling. They're going to, you know, 100% the run game is going through the running backs here. It's really going to be a coin flip. I think it's just, you know, who performs the best in fantasy. Moss played really, really well against Houston whenever Minshew came in. You know, what was that, week 2 or whatever, week 2 or week 3, I forget which week it was. But, you know, let's look, you know, I need to look at the snap count. I want to look at the snap. I don't even know the snaps. I don't really own either of these guys, so I haven't really looked into their metrics yet. Let me look at their snaps from last week. This might be a little bit more telling for us of what's going to happen this week. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is the thing, is that Moss has kind of carved out a role for himself. And they were going to limit JT first game back anyways. I still think they're going to limit him a little bit this week as well. Moss has proved that he's got a role for himself. I mean, you got 80% of the snaps for Moss, 15% of the snaps for Taylor. So if I had Moss, I would play him probably at the flex spot if, you know, if I needed to. But JT, man, I'm going to be honest, guys, I don't know if I would play him this week. It just really just depends on your, you know, the players that you have in your lineup. So process Roschon, Ramondre, or Jameson Williams in the flex, full PPR. And, you know, I like Ramondre. It's definitely not Jameson Williams. I will say that. It's not Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams shouldn't even be in the question, Frost. I know people like him, you know, like this and that, but that guy played 47% of the snaps, had 3 targets, 2 catches for 1 yard, or for 2 yards. So it's definitely not Jameson Williams. I'm sorry. So it's really between Roschon and Stevenson, and it's pick your poison. I'm gonna say Stevenson. I think Stevenson can get on track this week a little bit more. Stevenson had a really good game against the Raiders, which is who they're playing this week. This is the same game as last year, pretty much too. Aside from Jimmy G being the quarterback for the Raiders, it's in Las Vegas, I believe, as well. This is the same game from last year, and Ramondre played pretty well in it, so I'm not worried about Zeke. Give me Stevenson over Roschon, and yeah, give me Ramondre, man. I know it's tough for people to start Ramondre right now, but this is kind of a get right week for him, I believe. So give me Ramondre. All right, let's go to the receivers here. I'll go back and forth between these pages if you guys want me to go back and forth, or if you want me, you know, show you guys, you know, the quarterbacks again or whatever. Just let me know in the comments. But for now, we're going to move on to the receivers. Hill 1, Diggs, Chase, Kupp, Keenan Allen, Davante Adams rounds out your top 6 here. Nothing really like crazy here. Obviously, JJ down here, not going to play on the IR. That's a big bummer for anybody who obviously has JJ. You know, a really good explosion week again for Tyreek Hill. Same thing with Stephon Diggs. Diggs could arguably be number one this week playing the Giants, who got 2 rookie corners in the secondary. And obviously, it's a secondary that's just been getting cooked basically all year long so far. I expect Chase to kind of be the guy to, you know, I don't know if he's going to get you 15 catches like he did last week, but 10 catches coming his way probably this week. Expect him to continue the roll. Higgins, I believe, is questionable. I have Higgins over here as wide receiver 3. He's questionable. Even if he does play, though, I wouldn't be worried about him at all. If I'm a Chase owner, there's a chance he gets, you know, limited snaps or potentially re-injures again. So Cooper Kupp moving up the rankings here, number 4. He looks like he is the Cooper Kupp of old already. First game back. Puka was able to obviously be relevant as well, so that's why Puka is in the top 10 here. They have a juicy matchup against Arizona, who is not good, obviously. Keenan Allen coming back from the bye week, from the week 5 bye here at the 5th spot. Davante Adams, 6th spot. These are just guys you're locking in. CeeDee Lamb, Nakua, AJ Brown, Waddle. Have Waddle ranked a little bit higher than consensus. I believe this is his week to become relevant again in fantasy, as far as like breaking out, having a breakout week for for fantasy owners who own Waddle. This has got to be the week, man. This has got to be the week right here. You got A-Chain down, and I think a lot of the production that A-Chain has on the outside, on the perimeter, getting him out in space, big play opportunities, I believe that's going to go Waddle's way this week. So, and really for the next 4 weeks, since he is on the IR. So A-Chain going down should benefit Waddle more than just about anybody. It's going to benefit Mostert as well, but Waddle should get some of those opportunities, maybe those jet sweep motions. You got to think, a lot of the ways that they used Waddle last year, they haven't been using them that way because they have Achane. So Achane's been taking over that kind of role of getting these misdirection plays on the outside, and he's taking them for touchdowns, he's taking them for chunk yardages. Maybe that goes back to Waddle this week now that Achane is on the IR. So this is why Waddle is ranked so high this week. I believe this is going to be the outcome of Achane, being on the IR. So Waddle should get some more opportunities here. I think he could explode this week. Ridley 11, DJ Moore 12. Nothing really to say about these guys. This is about where they belong in the rankings. And they have decent matchups this week, especially DJ Moore again against Minnesota's defense. So those guys will round out the top 12. They are your receiver ones. You're going to play them if you own them. Really, most of these guys here, obviously at receiver 2, you should be playing them if you own them as well. We could maybe debate like Kirk, Debo, and Marquise Brown. But Olave, Ayuk, Pittman, St. Brown, Metcalf, Devontae Smith, all these guys you're locking in. Thielen makes his way into the actually inside the top 20 this week. Look, Carolina's got no offense other than throwing Thielen the ball. So Thielen is a guy I believe you can pretty much rely on to start him week in and week out, depending on the news cycle. But this week, you can throw him into your lineup or at least flex him. He's going to get his targets. They're looking for him every single time through the air. He's the only guy that's really getting open. And so Adam Thielen coming in at wide receiver 19. Evans coming off the bye. They said he's going to play. Not super high on him, but wide receiver 20. I feel like if you own him, you have to play him, obviously. Jordan Addison moving up the rankings. Actually, I believe I had him wide receiver 21 last week. Wide receiver 21 again this week. You could maybe argue he should be like 18 or 17. He should be up here maybe a little higher. Now that JJ's gone. I believe he's nursing like a little bit of an ankle injury or whatever in practice. They said he was limited yesterday, so just keep an eye on that. Maybe I wouldn't suspect anything of it. I believe he's going to play, obviously, Sunday. But the only guy I don't have on here for the wide receiver 3 guys that I forgot about was KJ Osborne. KJ Osborne would be like up to the top of this list as far as like where Garrett Wilson, Flowers, and Godwin are. Forgot all about him. But I don't know if I really trust Osborne either. So Addison I would trust more just because we know they're going to get him the ball. They spent a first round pick on him. He's been pretty solid other than week 4. He's been pretty solid, obviously, in fantasy. So Addison coming in at 21. Christian Kirk, 22. Kirk's been more and more involved as the weeks have progressed. It's going to be hard not to start him if you own him, especially if you have like a couple of flex spots. So Christian Kirk here at 22. Deebo Samuel, 23. We'll see, man. I'm not super high on these Niner guys because of the point total. I'm not really high on Purdy. CMC's obviously, you know, running back number 1 this week. But as far as Ayuk and Samuel go, man, it's kind of pick your poison. I could see one of them letting somebody down. I don't think they can both have big games this week. But it's going to be tough not to start these guys with how they've been playing and really just how much value you've spent on them. But it's not the greatest matchup, and it's, like I said, the point total is like 36 last I checked, which you don't. If you have a point total that's 36 in the middle of the season of an NFL game, that usually points to maybe not too much offense being produced this week. So that, which also translates to not really wanting guys on those particular teams in fantasy. So just keep that in mind. Marquise Brown coming in at wide receiver 24. I had him 24 last week. You got to continue to plug and play this guy because he's scoring. Their team's going to be down once again. They're gonna probably lose this game to the Rams. The Rams are definitely the better team at home. They're going to have to throw the ball. Joshua Dobbs is going to have to keep throwing it to Ertz, to Marquise Brown, trying to get Rondale Moore involved as well. So Marquise Brown coming in here at wide receiver 24. He's been pretty solid actually this year so far. So no James Conner. I know they had DeMarcado, but no James Conner. They're going to have to get the ball to Marquise Brown, to to the Ant-Man, and to Zach Ertz more often. So, and they're going to be losing. Who would you start wide receiver 3 between Palmer and Dotson? My other 2 wide receivers are Metcalf and Olave. Give me Josh Palmer, dude, until we can. I believe that's Josh Palmer, right? It's not Trey Palmer, is it? If it's Josh Palmer, give me Josh Palmer. I don't know about Dotson, man. I got to see it first. They got Atlanta this week. Atlanta's defense is a lot better than people think. Palmer's in a high-scoring game. It's going to be a pretty high-scoring game versus the Cowboys. Over/under's 50.5. Give me Palmer, man. I don't want to start Dotson until I see something. Like, until I see something that's like giving me confidence. Like, okay, I can start this guy from week to week. So I traded Javonte for Ford right after his first couple of snaps last night. How did I do redraft? I think that's a solid trade. I think that's pretty solid. Yeah. Yeah, give me the Javonte side of that. Hey man, I have Kenneth Walker. I want to add Charbonnet in case Kenneth's injuries. Who should I drop? Deontay, Algier, Quentin, Jameson, Jake Ferguson. Jameson Williams. Without a question, it's Jameson Williams. It's Jameson or it's Quentin Johnston. You're not dropping Algier. You're not dropping Deontay Johnson. He's going to be back next week. And you're not dropping Jake Ferguson. It's between Jameson Williams and Quentin Johnston. I really don't care for either guy, if I'm being quite honest. But I really don't care for Jameson Williams. If you think Jameson Williams maybe has more upside, then drop Quentin Johnston. But I don't. Yeah, it's between those 2 guys without a doubt. Quentin Johnston hasn't really been great, I know. So, but I really don't care about either guy this year, to be honest. I think Jameson Williams or really both of these guys could be okay, but it's not going to be this year. I lost Achane injury. I say Achane, it's Achane. Lost Achane injury. Do I start DeMercado, Foreman, or Ingram? Give me DeMercado. Give me DeMercado. I'm not starting Foreman. That's Keontae Ingram, correct? I'm assuming that's Keontae Ingram. Keontae Ingram hasn't been playing really, so I mean he's still injured. He's still you know, questionable right now. DeMercado's the guy. He's the guy in the backfield. If you guys don't know who DeMercado is, he is a rookie. I believe he's the guy who played next to Kendre Miller in that little 1-2 punch that they had in TCU. That's who Emari DeMercado is. And he wasn't bad at TCU. Obviously, he was a part of that team that went to the national championship. But he is that guy. He's the guy who played alongside Kendre Miller. 77% of the snaps last week, 10 carries, 45 yards. That's 4.5 yards a carry, not bad. Touchdown on the ground, 1 catch for 12 yards on 3 targets. It's DeMercado, bro. It's DeMercado. So guys that I'm really kind of not looking to start if I own them, Nico is one of them. Tough matchup here. There's going to be no Tank Dell in this matchup, so Nico's going to get Marcus Lattimore, you know, who's still one of the best in the game. You know, they also got Tyrann Mathieu. Really they have a decent secondary there in New Orleans, so Nico's not really a guy I'm looking to start unless you absolutely have to because you're thin at receiver. Other guys I'm not really looking to start. T. Higgins, not really looking to start him. He didn't play last week. Coming back, still questionable. I don't want to start him. I just don't want to start him. Another guy I'm not really looking to start is Terry McLaurin. Unless you absolutely have to. Terry McLaurin, not really looking to start. Amari Cooper, I'm not really looking to start now that I know that DTR is a quarterback playing against a San Francisco defense that's just been playing out of their minds, on fire, and we got a low scoring total. Don't want anything to do with Amari Cooper. I'm not starting Drake London this week either. Although the rookie Emmanuel Forbes has been getting cooked week in and week out by his competition, which is who is more than likely going to be covering London. I just don't trust this Atlanta passing. I don't trust the 300 yards that Ritter threw for last week. We're not going to see that this week. They're going to get back to grounding and pounding and trying to run the ball would be my guess, which may or may not work out for them. But Davis is a sneaky play this week. Like I said, the only thing I worry about is Buffalo getting ahead by so much that they just pull starters, you know, and they don't play the fourth quarter at all. But Davis is a sneaky play at the flex spot. He scored a touchdown in 4 straight weeks. He could score again this week against this weak secondary. So just keep that in mind. Davis is close to like being inside the top 24 this week. Juicy matchup. Would not knock you to start him over a couple of these other guys. D-Hop just outside top 24. Garrett Wilson, Flowers, Godwin, all these guys just outside the top 24. But you could start them in certain scenarios. Just depends on the scenario. All right, let's go to tight ends real quick. Kelsey last night, pretty good. Did not get in the end zone, but 124 yards, 9 for 9, 9 targets, 9 catches. So yeah, obviously you should have locked him in last night if you owned him. I don't need to tell you guys that, but Hawkinson number 2, decent matchup. No JJ. Expect more Hawkinson probably in this offense. I would hope. If we don't see a bunch of Hawkinson on Sunday and he doesn't have like more than 5 catches, I would be shocked. To be honest, I would. I don't know. That would mean Addison or KJ Osborne had a huge day. I would think. Andrews number 3. You're locking them in. Laporta locked in. Ingram, Goddard. You're locking these guys in. Kmet, you're locking in. This is where it gets different right here is with these guys right here. You have Ertz, Thomas, Kittle, Pitts, Ferguson. We can argue where these guys should be on the spectrum, but I got them 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. More than likely, I'm locking these guys in to a lineup. I don't like Waller with Daniel Jones being out against against that defense against Buffalo. I know Buffalo is missing a couple people for injury, but I just don't trust. We could barely trust Waller when Jones is the quarterback. I don't know how much we're going to be able to trust him with Tyrod Taylor, and on top of it, they have a bad offensive line. I know Barkley's going to be back in this game, I believe, but Waller is probably a guy I'm not looking to start this week if I have better options. If I have a Ferguson, if I have Kittle, if I have even Kyle Pitts and Logan Thomas, I'm probably starting these guys over Waller this week. Henry is a sneaky option just outside the top 12. And really the rest of these guys right here, I'm not really looking to start unless I absolutely have to. We could maybe argue Everett, and we can maybe argue like Cade Otton and Dalton Schultz. But aside from these three guys, I'm not really looking to start anybody if I have any of these guys. I'm just not. They have better matchups. They're more opportunities. You name it. So, man, I got proposed Ridley for Taylor. What do you think? I'm worried Moss is going to steal touches all year. Which side are you getting? You got proposed Ridley for Taylor. What do you... If somebody's offering you Ridley right now for your Jonathan Taylor, you take it and you run for the hills. You take it and run. I'm surprised you can even still get that. Someone dropped Tyler Algier. Do I drop Keontae Ingram for him? Yes. Drake London surely getting a good game against Washington? No. It's a decent matchup against a cornerback in Emmanuel Forbes, which I'm guessing is who's going to be on him for the most part, who's been getting cooked all year. He's a decent start depending on your lineup. Depends on who else you have at receiver on your team. If you have, I would say if you have like any of these guys right here, I'm not starting London over these guys. There's no way. There's no way. You can maybe argue like Kirk and Samuel and maybe Hollywood, but I'm not doing it. And the only reason why I think you can argue Samuel is because Samuel is got Ayuk who's involved, and they're playing on a team that's playing another team. You know, the point total is like 36 right now. So there's a chance you could see a bad game from Debo or Ayuk, or both potentially. Maybe London catches a touchdown for you. But you know, it just depends, man. It depends on, like, if you have like a Moore, if you have like a DJ Moore and a Cooper Kupp, or if you have a Chase and a Chris Olave, and you can only start 2 receivers, and let's say you have 3 really good running backs, then yeah, you're not starting Drake London. It just depends on your roster, man. It really just depends on your roster. All right, let's go defenses real quick. Buffalo, number 1. This is pretty much clear cut. Buffalo is going to have another really good defensive week. Not like last week, but 2 weeks ago against Miami. It's going to be pretty similar to that, or even against Washington 3 weeks ago. We'll just see, man. We'll see. If Taylor doesn't play well, it could get ugly really, really quick. Niners, number 2. You're locking those guys in. They have DTR, the rookie, who did not fare well against Baltimore on his career season debut. He's playing again today after the bye. So, and he's playing against one of the best defenses who just shut down Dak Prescott and made Dak Prescott look like a rookie. So, I can only imagine what they're gonna do to DTR. I feel bad for DTR, man. He gets the Ravens, his first career NFL start, and then now he's got San Francisco. It's not gonna be good, man. Baltimore, number 3. Lock them in. Lock them in. Miami, lock those guys in as well. They got a pretty decent matchup here this week again. So Miami coming in here at number 4 against Carolina. Carolina's been struggling. Philly, number 5. Lions, number 6. Chiefs, number 7. If you started Chiefs last night, you probably have a decent outing from them. Saints, number 8. Falcons, number 9. Don't sleep on the Falcons here. Falcons defense is a lot better than people think. And they're playing Sam Howell, who has been making some mistakes lately. So I know they're coming off a little bit of a mini bye. Maybe they're a little bit more prepared for Atlanta, but Atlanta has a lot better defense than people think. Jacksonville 10, Dallas 11, and then Washington 12. Washington obviously playing against Atlanta. This is going to be like a low-scoring game, probably. I mean, Atlanta's going to play in a lot of low-scoring games this year, just because they run the ball, they run the clock, and their defense plays well. So, Amon-Ra or CD rest of the season. Give me CD Lamb, but it's close. It's really, really close. And the only reason why I say give me CD for the most part, the reason why I say give me CD is because I don't think we can trust Amon-Ra to stay healthy. I know he's going to play this week, but this guy always comes up with like a toe injury or an ankle injury or something, man. And he's already missed one game. Maybe he misses a couple more later in the year. Who knows? It's either a concussion, an ankle, or a foot injury or of some kind for Amon-Ra. So give me CeeDee Lamb rest of the season. What's up? Just lost JJ. Got offered Olave for Burrow. I'm 4-1, and the QB I would be starting is Kirk Cousins, who already has been starting for me all these weeks. My next best wide receiver is Christian Kirk. I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead and do it. I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead and do it. I would like a better receiver than Olave. I would like to get, instead of like Olave, I would try to get CeeDee Lamb, bro. I think CeeDee Lamb's a little bit better. I wouldn't say he's better. He's not really much of a better receiver. I think they're both really good receivers. CeeDee Lamb has better opportunity within his offense, and you can still buy him low because he didn't play good last week. I would try to buy into like a CD though. You could. Maybe I know somebody else could own CeeDee Lamb, and so maybe they're not willing to trade. You know, blah blah blah. But if you have to settle for Olave, I would say take it. Olave is probably somewhere between 12 and 15. You know, wide receiver 12 to 15 the rest of the season. So you're getting a low end receiver 1 or a high end receiver 2, in my opinion. So yeah, you're gonna need a receiver, man, because you just lost JJ, and I think you can get by with Kirk. Even though Kirk and JJ are tied together, and maybe Kirk's play comes down a little bit because he's missing JJ, which is, you know, obviously probably is going to be the case, but he should be able to get by. And you need a receiver, and you're getting an upgrade. So yeah, take Olave. I still don't know if I quite trust Burrow yet. I do think, look, Burrow and Chase, the Bengals, they're going to get it going. So last week was just kind of the beginning. We'll see what they do this week, but they will eventually get it going down the stretch. They're going to have to if they want to make the playoffs. So, and that's just the way it is. All right, guys, that is your rankings. Quarterbacks right here. Then you got running backs 1 through 24. Receivers. Tight ends. And for you guys that have defenses out there, these are your defenses for week number 6. He also has CD, who I tried to counter off, but okay, he declined. I have good running backs, but my wide receiver room is slacking with Scary Terry and Christian Kirk as my. And Kirk's been playing out of his mind, really, the last few weeks. That's crazy that he has CD Lamb, and I was telling you to maybe get CD. Maybe you throw Burrow and you throw somebody else to go get CD. I would throw in Burrow and Terry McLaurin to go get CD. I would. Like, give him Scary Terry. If he wants Terry McLaurin and Burrow or CD Lamb, you can go that route. I would go that route. So, I mean, CD Lamb, rest of the season, you're talking CD Lamb is somewhere between 5 and 10, probably, maybe 5 to 8, and Chris Olave is somewhere between 12 to 15. CD Lamb, I know he had a bad week last week, but look, CD Lamb is going to get much more opportunity within his offense. Trust me, I'm a Chris Olave owner. Like, I would want CD Lamb right now over Olave. Just because I don't really trust the Saints offense right now. I don't know what Derek Carr's been doing. And I don't know if it's his shoulder injury that he's been nursing over the last couple of weeks. If that's why, the bad play has been so bad. And I mean, we got lucky. Olave caught a touchdown last week, or we were looking at a 2-point week from him probably. So, CeeDee Lamb, man, it was just a bad matchup last week. Niners defense played really, really well. Dak played bad. CeeDee Lamb's going to bounce back this week. Like, if you're looking for buy low guys, and I don't even have CD on here, but CD would be in the buy low category for sure. Hall is pretty, like, let's go over these buy low candidates, because Hall is pretty much out of here. I've not updated this yet. Let's take all of these guys off here. This has obviously changed. Need to Demercado, Foreman, or Palmer. Thanks. Demercado and Palmer, bro. I don't even have to think about that one. Demercado and Foreman, or not? No, Demercado and Palmer. Scratch out Foreman. Let's go over buy low and sell high candidates real quick. Take all these guys out of here. So Stevenson can stay up here. Gibbs can stay up here. I think even Wilson can stay up here. All these guys can pretty much stay up here. JT is a guy I would sell high. If you could sell high on JT right now, like that guy was telling me, who is that just came in here and was saying, you got offered Ridley for JT. Punch that, and run for the hills. Run for the hills, man.
Robbery in progress.
Was really hoping Kelsey or Pacheco would score last night, or KC offense in general. I have allowed my opponent has Butker, and he's racking up those points. Yeah, I know, dude. Tell me about it, dude. I'm in a league where if somebody makes a 50-yard field goal, it's like 10 points. So I don't even trust me, bro. I know it's frustrating to watch guys kick 50 yarders and 60 yarders, and he's making them all. Like in the one league that I'm in, Butker had 27 points, which is just stupid. I don't even know why I'm in that league, dude. I need to get out of that league. Crap is stupid. Would you trade Cup for Hill? Oh man, those guys are so evenly matched in my opinion. I would say yes, I would. If I was a Cup owner and I could buy into Tyreek Hill, I would do it. And the reason why I say that is because of the injury concern, because he's already been injured. We're talking about Cup here. Cup's already been injured. And so there's always a chance, but there's always a chance Hill gets injured. Who knows? Maybe Hill pops up with a hamstring issue later in the season. We don't know. You're rolling the dice, and really you're kind of like, you're trying to, it's like a coin flip on like who's going to get hurt first. I think Tyreek Hill is the #1 receiver for the whole year. His oath that he made to go get 2,000 yards, I think he's going to get. So my belief, I would want Hill, because I believe he's the #1 receiver for the rest of the year. I believe he's going to break the record, the single season record for receiving yards, which is owned by Calvin Johnson, right? And then Cup almost broke it. I think he's going to pass both of those guys. So if it was me, I would want Hill. And so if you could buy into Hill with Cooper Cup, I would do it. Need 2 at flex PPR: Dotson, Moore, Jameson Williams. Holy cow. I gotta see it from Jameson Williams first, dude. So give me Elijah Moore, give me Dotson. I don't feel good about Dotson. I feel better about Dotson than the other 2 options. I don't feel good about Elijah Moore though, with no, I don't feel good about any Cleveland Brown player on offense without Deshaun Watson. So we have a 1-game sample size of DTR at quarterback. And it's not that DTR is bad, he's just young, and he's only played in 1 real NFL game so far. And not only is he playing in his 2nd real NFL game, but it's against one of the best defenses in the league. And really, Baltimore, whenever he played Baltimore, that was one of the better defenses in the league as well. It's definitely a top 10 defense in the league. And so the problem with DTR and trusting him and trying to trust the players around him like Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper, Ford, it's just that he's young and he doesn't have a whole lot of experience, and he's playing the best defenses in the league, it seems like. So I mean, you had a top 10 defense against Baltimore, and then he's got a top 1 to 2 defense in the league in San Francisco. So thanks, man. And another one of my leagues, I got offered Devontae Smith for Breece Hall. You got offered Smith for your Breece? No. My receivers are Tyreek, Amari, Christian Watson. I also have Hurts, so I'd have the stack as well. Yeah, I know you'd have the stack, but the stack doesn't matter because he's not throwing the ball to Smith. Look, I'm a Smith owner. This is funny. You guys are talking about players that I own, so there's nobody better to talk to about this than me, because I own all of these guys. So let's look here. Looky here. So this is my team. I got Lamar, I got Kyron, I got Breece Hall, I have Olave, Addison, Ertz, Walker, Moody, Baltimore's defense, and then what do you know? I got Devontae Smith right here on the bench. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on Smith and Addison. I don't know who I want to start this week. I'm leaning towards Addison, obviously. So I have all of these guys that you're talking about. I have Breece and I have Smith. There's no way, if I was a Breece Hall owner, which I am, and I'm a Smith owner, there's no way I'm giving somebody Breece Hall for Devontae Smith. There's no way. Not after last week. There's no freaking way. I would be trying to buy low on Devontae Smith. You're not buying low on Devontae Smith by giving the guy Breece Hall. Breece Hall is a top 15 running back who's only going to get better and better as the year goes on. I don't even care that he's playing Philly's defense this week. He's got no limitations. They're going to get him the ball. Maybe he's not going to have as good of a week as he did last week with the 31.9 points in my league. And mind you, this is still only on 52% of the snaps. But he did have 22 carries, 3 for 3 in the passing game. He's not going to have this kind of week against Philly this week. But look at his schedule going forward after the bye. The Giants, terrible. Chargers, you can run the ball against them. Vegas, you can run the ball against them. You know what I'm saying? He's got a couple of division matchups. Atlanta, You can run the ball against Atlanta. Houston, you can run the ball against them. He's got a lighter schedule after the bye. I'm not really concerned about Buffalo's defense really either, as far as the run game goes. So, yeah. I'm not buying Devontae Smith for Breece Hall, bro. There's no way. I don't care if you get the stack or not. You also have Pollard on your team. You have Pollard. Do you have Pollard and Breece? No. Stick with that. You also have A-Chain on IR, but other than that, I just have Roschon and Javonte. So you go... Intriguing to me because the stack hurts. I know, but stack doesn't matter as long as AJ Brown is healthy. Is what I'm going to say. The stack doesn't matter as long as AJ Brown is healthy. So, I mean, I'm pretty low on Devontae Smith this week. I don't think it's the greatest matchup. Maybe he outperforms Brown this week. Maybe because Brown sees a little bit more Sauce Gardner this week, you know. Look, you factor in, like, here's the deal, man. Here's the deal with when it comes to Philly. Okay, let's talk about Philly. You got AJ Brown, who ever since he went over and was cussing out, you know, probably cussing out Jalen Hurts and complaining, basically pulling Terrell Owens stunt, he's gotten the ball every single game since that moment. You think about Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert played good last week. This is the thing, especially with how they're running the ball with Hurts and running the ball with Swift. And then you factor in AJ Brown, Goddard, and Smith. Those three guys. Obviously, if you don't own any of those three guys in terms of the receiving game, then it's irrelevant, right? But if Goddard has a decent game, that means one of AJ Brown or Devontae Smith is going to have a bad game. Out of those three guys, out of Goddard, Smith, and AJ Brown, all three of them cannot have good games. You look at last week, Brown went over 100 yards. Goddard went over 100 yards. Both of those guys had good games. Who suffered for it? Devontae Smith. You look at the first game, or really you just look at all the other games where Goddard played bad. He played bad because Smith and AJ Brown were getting majority of the targets and catches and yardage. So all three of those guys cannot have a good game. Somebody's going to suffer. It's been Dallas Goedert the first few weeks, and then last week it was Smith. And guess what? Goddard had a good game. So, and you also have Goddard. This guy said, I got Goddard too. You got Swift on your team also, bro? Holy cow. Do I sell Mostert for a receiver? My current receivers are Higgins, D-Hop, Addison, and Pickens. Who are your other running backs? Clutch. It depends on who your other running backs are. If you have like a Breece Hall and you have Kenneth Walker, or if you have like two other good running backs, I'm gonna say yes. But you're gonna have to sell. You're gonna have to sell him high. Because I have Mostert's my running back 6 this week, man. So. I would package Mostert and Higgins together, and I would try to go get like the best receiver you possibly can. You got Bijan, Pollard, Javonte, Dameon Pierce. So yeah, you can. Yeah, you can sell Mostert, but don't sell him low. When I say whenever I say you can get rid of him, it's got to be like a top 10 receiver minimum. It's got to be. I don't even know if Ridley's enough, to be honest. I would want Kupp. I would want Chase. I would want CD. I would want Devontae. I would want basically everybody that's AJ Brown, which is in my 9 spot. AJ Brown's in my 9 spot. I would want everybody that's 9 and above. 1 to 9. And if you had to throw in T. Higgins in there, which like, look, I'm not worried about T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins he was a bad second round pick, which I was saying that over the summer all year long. I couldn't believe this guy was going like, his ADP was like 23, 24, 25. I couldn't believe it. Thought it was a terrible pick. I didn't take a whole lot of T. Higgins at all in best ball. If you had to package Higgins and Mostert together and it could buy you into Cooper Kupp, or it could buy you into Steph Diggs, or Tyreek Hill even, slam it. Punch it in a heartbeat. Punch it and run for the hills. Do I sell a running back to improve receiver? Running backs are Kamara, ETN, Pacheco, Achane, Roshan, JW. Is that Javonte Williams? JWJ. Who's JWJ? Receivers are Puka, Smith, Flowers, Lockett, Dell. Your receivers aren't bad, Tingley. Lockett's coming back for you this week off a bye. Dell's obviously ruled out. He's not going to play. Flowers is decent. You could. I don't know who you're going to sell. I would sell Pacheco. I'm not selling Achane. Look, Achane can sit on the IR. If I sell Achane, I got to get a lot. I have to get probably more than what a lot of people are willing to pay because he's injured right now. So Achane is a guy you probably can't sell. If you do sell him, you're not going to get what he's worth because he's injured right now. And a lot of people, unless there's somebody out there who's willing to pay top dollar for him, which they probably won't. I know it's tough, man. Look, I like Devontae Smith. I was high on Devontae Smith. I thought I did say though early in the season that like Smith is gonna probably need a little bit of an injury from AJ Brown to happen. As bad as that sounds, I know that's not, you know, I don't wish injury upon anybody, but if AJ Brown were to miss a few games, Devontae Smith would be a top 10 receiver in fantasy. But until that happens, man, it's gonna be tough sledding because they're running the ball well with Swift, and then AJ Brown is just a target hog, you know. So who knows though? Maybe Smith has a decent week this week, and AJ Brown kind of cools down a little bit. It's usually how it goes. One guy's usually going to have a good game, the other's just not. So the offense hasn't been good enough. They haven't been scoring enough points to where both guys are, you know, both guys are relevant in fantasy the same week. So I would want to move Pacheco, but you're not going to get a good receiver for Pacheco. You're going to have to throw somebody in with Pacheco to maybe. This is what I would do, man. And I don't know, you probably can't do it this week because Pacheco's already played. I would try to buy into like Brandon Ayuk after this week. If Ayuk has another, like if he has a bad game this week, let's just say Ayuk has a bad game this week because, you know, it's a low point total and he just doesn't get involved. Maybe Debo gets involved a little bit more this week, or maybe they just only use CMC and Kittle or something this week. I would take Pacheco and I would try to buy into like a Brandon Ayuk, Calvin Ridley, even DJ Moore potentially. I know a lot of people don't like DJ Moore, but he is the number one receiver on his team and he's getting all of the targets from Justin Fields. So you could sell Smith and Pacheco, but you know, if you package that, you got to get like a Cooper Kupp, you got to get a Keenan Allen, you got to get a Chase, you got to get something, you got to get like one of these top 8 guys right here. Well, you already have Nakua, so you got to get one of these top 7 guys. You have to get either these 6 guys, one of these 6 guys, or probably CD. So that's what I would say. If you get rid of, you know, if you want to package something like a Pacheco and a Smith, you got to buy into one of these top 7 receivers that I have for this week. Because these top 7 receivers I have for this week are going to be top 7 most weeks, especially with JJ out. So keep that in mind. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? If not, I will probably get ready to end this. I got a couple of things I got to do tonight. Tomorrow I'll go live and we'll talk about I need to update my statistics here for my receivers and my running backs. But tomorrow we can go over, give you guys what they go. I haven't updated it for this week, but let me show you guys here. So we have our advanced stats for our running backs here. We have we can go over the opportunity share, snap share. Some of these guys, I have a lot of this formatted for, you know, this right. So like this right here is based off of the ranking right now is based off the target share. And so I can, obviously I can, you know, we can go off of a different metric here. This is obviously through the first 4 weeks. We don't have week 5 included into this these stats yet. We can go like we can go off of rushing yards here. Let's go off rushing yards. Like we can sort this any way we want basically. So obviously McCaffrey's the leader in rushing yards, Swift too. So like, but this is everything. This is, you know, target share. We got red zone touches, which is a big one. You know, obviously, like I said, I need to update this stuff for last week's games or whatever. I have not done that yet, but we can go over that tomorrow. Like here, I'll show you guys the red zone touches. This is not including last week, just so you guys know. So, the only reason why I don't have Eckler on here is because Eckler's only played 1 game. So you know, some of these guys I don't have all their numbers in here if they've only played like a couple of games, you know, because their numbers can be outlier. So, like really, we could hide Eckler. We don't really need to see Eckler since his red zone touches. Obviously, I'm not gonna put him up there because he's only played 1 game, but this is kind of like, and you know, we got yards created per touch. So even though like I know Tony Pollard's been playing bad, he's got the most red zone touches of any running back, including McCaffrey. At least factoring out last week. Last week McCaffrey's probably more than him now after last week, or close to. But like Pollard is a solid guy, and this is why I told you guys not to sell him. He's doing decent in the rushing category. The opportunity to snap shares there, you know. 5th ranked here in receptions, most red zone touches through 4 weeks. Route participation is decent. The problem is these numbers right here. Yards created per touch is below 3, which is not good. It's not terrible, but it's not where it needs to be. When you look at McCaffrey's, obviously. You look at Achan's, obviously. Achan's is kind of outlier, but it's really not because he's played in multiple games. But this is obviously an outlier number. This eventually will come down to like the 3s and the 4s. But I need to update these rankings for last week's games. And then obviously here are the receivers. I need to update the receivers as well, which I have a ton of receivers to update. We can look at target shares, target rate, route participation, average depth of targets, yards per route run. This is a big one, obviously. You want somebody that's really in this 2 category or more. Obviously Pickens and Reed, Flowers, these guys are just below 2, which isn't bad. But we can go over some of this stuff tomorrow. I just need to update my stats for this. So Brees or Jacobs, PPR rest of the season. Oh my gosh. Probably give me Jacobs, man. And it hurts me to say that because I'm a lot lower on Jacobs than most people. And I love Brees Hall, but give me Jacobs probably the rest of the season if it's PPR. It's, you know, Brees is, I don't know, man. It's going to be close. Jacobs is going to outproduce him in fantasy points this year unless like an injury occurs, obviously. But if we're talking from here on out, give me Jacobs, but barely. It's going to be close. because I do think Breece Hall after this week, and then they have the bye week 7, week 8 and on, he's going to be pretty good. Jeff Wilson. Oh, that's Jeff Wilson Jr. Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. Dude in my league has been asking for Kelce proposals. Usually been 2 for 1 and has offered Mark Andrews plus AJ Brown. He also has Amon-Ra and would possibly offer him. What would you do? Dude, if he's offering you AJ Brown and Mark Andrews for Kelce, you gotta, I would think you have to take that, to be honest. I would think you would have to take that. Because you're asking me if you sell a running back to improve at receiver. You didn't tell me that you had Kelce on your team, Tingley. Why didn't you tell me that? The only problem with that trade, man, is I don't want AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on the same team. I want either one or the other, or I don't want either of them. You know what I mean? That's like having Michael Thomas and Chris Olave on the same team. I don't want both the guys on the same team, really. I guess that's a little bit different. That'd be like having T. Higgins and Chase on the same team, and I don't want that. I'd rather just have Chase and not have T. Higgins. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna be hard pressed to start both of those guys, especially if you have somebody like Puka on your team, or if you had like, you know, let's say you had like Metcalf on your team or somebody like that. You know what I mean? Ayuk on your team. It's gonna be tough to start all 3 of them. It's gonna have to be a juicy matchup for both guys on the same team to get there for you week in and week out. Start Brian Robinson or Foreman. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Is that a serious question? That can't be a serious question. It's Brian Robinson, dude.
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot.
It's got to be Brian Robinson, bro. No offense. I just hit the soundbite. It's all fun and games, but come on, bro. It's Brian Robinson. Yeah, I don't want both Eagles receivers either. Yeah, that's the only reason why I would tell you not to do it, man. I know you're trying to upgrade at receiver, but like if that's Diggs and Mark Andrews for Kelce, then yeah, 100%. 100%. If it's Kupp and it's Mark Andrews, 100% do it. St. Brown, I hesitate because I don't trust him staying healthy, man. Kelce just got another 20-point game in a row. Maybe he couldn't let go of Amon-Ra. LOL. Look, man, if you want to get Amon-Ra, if you want Andrews and Amon-Ra for Kelce, I would wait. I would wait to see how Amon-Ra looks this week. That's all I'm gonna say. I wouldn't punch it until after the games on Sunday and I see how well, you know, I mean, the only thing I worry about Amon-Ra is just him getting injured. Kelce's also been a little bit banged up too. So I don't know, man. It's tough. I would want, like, I mean, obviously, if somebody offered you Diggs and Andrews or something like that of that nature for Kelce, I mean, obviously, you don't even need me to tell you to take that. But I'm thinking here, man. I would probably do it for Amon-Ra, but I want to see how he looks this week, if that makes sense. Start Kupp or wide receiver 4 on the Rams. LeBron's, you gotta elaborate on that, man. I don't know what you're asking. Do you start Kupp this week? Yeah, you start Kupp. Like, come on, bro. What kind of questions are we asking right here? Yes, you're starting Kupp. I don't know what you mean by wide receiver 4 on the Rams, though. What are you talking about? I don't know. I think you like typoed that or something. Was a bad joke. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't get it, bro. It flew over my head. Foreman's the starter this week. Is he? They said he's starting. I don't think that even matters. Because I don't think he... I mean, either way, Roschon, when it comes to Roschon and Foreman, I guess what I would tell you guys is I mean, they're going to both be... They're not inside top 24. Neither one of those guys are this week. So I would look for a better option. And I know you guys are asking me about Roschon and Foreman on who would you play this week? If Foreman's gonna get the starter reps, maybe you go with Foreman, but I just don't see it, dude. Just set to be Chicago's lead backfield Sunday against the Vikings. Roschon's got a concussion. I heard that Roschon was going to still play, though. If Roschon doesn't play... So Roschon isn't going to play. This is 20 minutes ago via RotoWire. Concussion has been ruled out. Okay, so there's your answer. Roschon's ruled out with a concussion, so then you're going to go Foreman. Roschon was ruled out. Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. I see that. Okay, so if Roschon's ruled out, for all you guys that asked me about Roschon and Foreman and whoever the hell else it was about starting 2 players and sitting 1, you're obviously going to start Foreman, but I would not get your hopes up about Foreman. Like I might start like somebody like Tajay Spears over him, if I'm being honest. You might even have a better chance with like Chuba Hubbard, DeMercado. I would probably want those guys over Foreman as well this week. I don't know if you guys have that option or not. It really just depends on who's on your waiver wire or if you own any of those guys. But you see where Roschon is right here? Just replace his name with Foreman. This is where Foreman would be still. So, like, it doesn't even matter that he's got the backfield to himself. Really, Fields is going to run for more yards than he will, probably. So, sit after the Robinson Foreman. So, somebody asked me about Foreman and Brian Robinson. It's still Brian Robinson, bro. Wasn't a stupid question. No, I guess it's not. I'm the idiot for not knowing. I didn't see this 20 minutes ago. Roschon was ruled out. So either way, though, guys, like I'm still starting Brian Robinson over Foreman. Like Brian Robinson is top 18. Foreman's still. I'm not putting just replace Roschon with Foreman, and that's where Foreman would be ranked for me. He's still a running back 3. He's still a guy who hasn't played the last 4 weeks. Okay. He's got no rapport with this offense. The offensive line isn't that great. I know that Herbert ran pretty well last week, but I know they're playing a pretty sorry defense in Minnesota. I still think that you're just going to see more Fields running. It's going to be the outcome of this. I don't know. I know Foreman's capable. He's capable of breaking off a couple of decent runs and going for over 100 yards, but he hasn't played the last 4 weeks. He played 28% of the snaps week 1. I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. Let's just put it that way. So, like Foreman being the lead back, it does nothing for me. Let's put it this way. If you're debating on whether or not to start Foreman this week and you don't have a winning team, unless you have a bunch of like Pittsburgh Steelers and Green Bay Packers guys that are on bye this week and that's why you're starting, You do not have a winning team this year in fantasy if you're debating on starting Foreman, like in your flex spot or something. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like brash about it, but that's just the way it is. Like, Foreman is in the same breath as like P. Ryan, as, you know, Chuba Hubbard, Zeke, Akers. A lot of these guys that aren't even, like, I don't even have over here as running back threes for this one. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he has a decent week this week because he's got the backfield to himself, but we'll see, man. We'll see. I just think you're going to see more of Justin Fields running the ball, is what I think. My starting running backs this week are DeMercado and Zeke. I think DeMercado will be fine. I think DeMercado is going to surprise a lot of people this week with no James Conner. Zeke, though, yeah, that's rough. What happened, LeBron's? You have, like... Who did you draft? You must have drafted like Chubb and Dobbins, right? Something like that. Thoughts on JT Moss versus Jags defense? B-Rob versus Atlanta's defense. Thanks. Yeah, man, I'm firing up B-Rob because this is a game that they're probably not gonna get game scripted out. He's not gonna get game scripted out of. So give me B-Rob. And I'm starting Moss over JT, bro. I don't trust. Look, I think both guys can be very effective against the Jaguars defense. The offensive line's playing great, but I want Moss right now over JT until, look, he played 15% of snaps last week or whatever it was. I think it was 15% of snaps. Moss proved that he has a role within this offense. Yeah, Taylor played 15% of snaps last week, 6 carries, 18 yards, a catch on 1 target for 16 yards. Give me Moss this week, man, until we see otherwise. I still think they're going to ease Taylor into the offense a little bit this week again. So you got to think the guy didn't really get much. He didn't get like any training camp under his belt, and then he missed the first 4 weeks. So they're still kind of like working him in, trying to get him into shape, probably into game shape. That's why Moss is getting so much carries. Plus, Moss is still effective with his carries. So, and I think that's going to continue against Jacksonville's defense. We starting Njoku with Watson out or Jonnu? Good grief. Are we really down to that, guys? Holy cow, are we struggling that bad? We're struggling between Jonnu Smith and Njoku. Yeah, give me Jonnu, dude. I got Jonnu ranked above Njoku for a reason. Yeah, give me Jonnu Smith. I would hope you had a better option, though. I'm not gonna lie, Tingley. I would hope you'd have a better option, bro. I just don't trust DTR, dude. And they're playing against a really good defense, and the point total is 36, guys. 36. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of scoring from the Browns. Expect a very similar game that the Browns had against the Ravens whenever DTR played. Chubb, Aaron Jones, and Connor were my regular starters. Holy cow, bro. I feel so bad for you. That sucks, man. Yeah, Chubb, I originally had Chubb too, Stu, so I know exactly how you feel because Chubb is a big one. I mean, Chubb's a top 3 running back. So, and then Jones is on bye. Connor's hurt. Yikes. At least you got DeMercado. I give you props for that. I think I could get DeMercado right now. I don't think anybody's picked him up in my league. So, I got Adams, Cup, and Kelsey at receiver / tight end. So, I would try to move Kelsey, bro. You can't do it this week, though. That's what sucks about it. You can't do it this week. And you got Aaron Jones coming back next week, so I'm not gonna lie, LeBron's. I would try to move Kelsey and try to move into a decent tight end, like a top 12 tight end that I have, like a Ferguson. Try to move into a Ferguson, a Komet, a Goddard, a Ingram, and then get another running back to go with it, like some running. I don't know who, you know, it depends on what the guys in your league, whoever has a decent tight end with decent running backs, and that doesn't have a good tight end. You know, maybe they're sick of like Jake Ferguson already, or maybe they're sick of Komet or Ertz or Goddard. You know, obviously Komet and Goddard have, you know, they kind of resurrected their fantasy football life a little bit, but I would try to probably move Kelsey after this week, and we'll see obviously how people perform, and I would try to grab a decent tight end that's like a top 12 tight end, top 14 tight end, and then grab a good running back to go with it. Grab like a really just depends on how they play this week, but try to move into like Kenneth Walker, maybe Hiron, you know, Bijan maybe. You know, really just depends on how guys play this week, man. There's gonna be certain guys after this week that you can probably buy a little bit lower than what they currently are right now, and vice versa, obviously. So someone in league keeps hoarding the tight ends. Yeah, I know, dude. I got somebody in my league that owns like Hawkinson and Laporta, and he keeps sitting Laporta each week, and Laporta keeps playing really good, and it's hilarious. 3-2 somehow. Well, at least you're 3-2, but this is what I would say, LeBron's. Try to, like, we're gonna have to wait and see how guys play this week, obviously, and Kelsey's already played for you, so you trying to move Kelsey and try to get like a good tight end and maybe a really good running back to go with, you know, like a 2-for-1 trade. We're gonna have to wait until Monday or Tuesday to see like what your options are. But that's what I would potentially try to do, and we're just gonna have to wait and see how guys play this week, because that's gonna determine probably who you can and cannot go for. So I would say Pollard had another like semi kind of bad week where he only gets like 10 to 12 points or something like that in like a half PPR league. I would probably try to target the guy that owns Pollard, and then snag Pollard and maybe snag his tight end for Kelsey or something, depending on who his tight end is, obviously. Defense to start: Houston, Jags, Atlanta, or Commanders. Give me Atlanta. I got Atlanta and the Jags 9 and 10, and I got Washington 12. So this is really a toss-up. Give me Atlanta, bro. Give me Atlanta. If you don't want Atlanta, my next best option would be Washington, and that's who they're playing. So the Jags would be number 3 on this list for me. And the reason why I say that, even though I have Jacksonville ranked higher than Washington, is that I think one of these two defenses is going to outplay Jacksonville's defense. I just don't know which one it is. I'm guessing it's going to be Atlanta. Atlanta is the favorite, and Atlanta's defense has been playing pretty well, but I could see a little bit of a bounce back week from Washington's defense as well. Both quarterbacks that they're playing, in Ritter and Sam Howell, make mistakes. So it really depends on which one's going to make more mistakes. I'm guessing it's going to be Sam Howell that makes more mistakes, though, just because Atlanta runs the ball quite a bit, and Atlanta's defense, I think, is better. So give me Atlanta this week. Just traded Pierce and Laporta for Mixon and Ingram. My current tight end is Andrews. My running backs are Stevenson, Brees, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. Haha, you got me. You got me, guys. Taylor Swift and Mixon. All right. This guy, dude. You would make me say that. All right. Just traded Pierce and Laporta for Mixon and Ingram. I'm not going to lie, dude. I don't like that trade. Because I think Laporta is better than Ingram. And I know Pierce isn't, I mean, obviously I'm higher on Mixon than Pierce, but you have Brees and you have Swift. JT could maybe come along for you eventually here in a few weeks. We'll see, man. JT is such a wild card right now. I don't know what to think of him. I would be like if I had JT, like this is the best thing I can say to you guys who have JT. Somebody was in the chat earlier, said that somebody was offering them Ridley for their JT. Like, if you get an offer like that, then you have to take it. I would obviously do that 100 out of 100 times, and that's what I would want to do if I had JT. I would want to move him for somebody like that and just be done with him and not even have to worry about him the rest of the year. I would move into a more like a more what's the word I'm looking for? Just a better scenario for your team that, like, you know, less worries about what's going to happen. Would you trade Higgins, Brees, and Mike Evans for Tyreek Hill and Rachaad White? Yes, I would. As much as I hate to move off of Brees, I think Rachaad White's already had his bye. He's been heavily involved in the offense, and you're getting probably the #1 receiver in fantasy. So yes, I would. Start Justin Herbert or Kirk Cousins? Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, man. Cousins doesn't have JJ. Herbert's coming off a bye. Full strength for the most part, obviously minus Mike Williams, and they get a high point total against the defense who is vulnerable to the pass. So if they can keep Micah Parsons and some of that defensive line at bay, then like sky's the limit for the Chargers. They're going to be able to score points. So give me Herbert. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for me today, man. Like I said, tomorrow I need to update my stats tonight, and then we'll go over stats, and really we'll talk about it more probably on Monday or Tuesday after the week is over, and we'll talk about guys that we can buy into, guys that we can sell or get rid of. So like I said, I need to update those stats. We'll go over it a little bit tomorrow, and I'll look more, and I haven't really adjusted my buy low and sell high stuff yet, so we'll do that tonight. We'll update the stats and we'll go over some of this tomorrow, and then we'll probably go over it more on Monday or Tuesday after the week is over, after we've seen how good or how bad certain players have played and this and that. So I appreciate all of you guys tuning in. If you guys haven't already, click the like button. It really helps me out, helps me get my videos past YouTube's you know, their algorithm and stuff like that. And also subscribe to the channel if you are new. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and we will catch you guys tomorrow. I am out of here. You guys have a good one.